Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. We are excited to hear about TrueCommerce, and they will be presenting on Commerce Network Challenges from EDI to Fulfillment, Forging a Digital Future. And we just ask that if you do have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the questions box, and we will get them called out and answered at the end of the webinar. And then we do record all of our webinars, so this will be available on our website later this week for you to review again, or if you would like to share it with any of your other colleagues and friends, you're more than welcome to. And that will be at Innovia.com. And so I would like to introduce our presenters today. We have Jeff Franklin. He is the Channel Development Manager of TrueCommerce. Jeff brings over 25 years of expertise in manufacturing, distribution, and ERP systems, including EDI. And this entrepreneur has started a few technology companies, with his last being acquired by TrueCommerce in January of 2017. And he's joined by Jeff Norris, who is the Director of Pre-Sales for Supply Chain Collaboration at TrueCommerce. And so I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, and he's going to start our presentation today.
Okay, thanks, Angie. Okay, so what we're going to dive through today is how businesses have changed and all of the pressures that are being put on a lot of companies, which is really forcing a whole digital future in your businesses now. So TrueCommerce was known for EDI in the Microsoft channel. And you know, what is EDI? EDI is that beautiful stuff over on the right that a lot of big companies kind of forced you to do if you wanted to do business with them. And what we do is we take all of that gobbledygook and turn it into something very simple and easy for you to pull directly right into your Microsoft Nav ERP system. So EDI was really designed to make sure that it was computer to computer transfer, so that it really took out the human element. It kind of gave a standard. Now EDI, as we know it, we've been in the business long enough, EDI is the only standard that really isn't standardized, because everybody uses it and it uses all the elements and segments, but everybody uses different elements and segments, and we take that and make it very simple for you to be able to pull that in. The people that need to do EDI is anybody doing business with retailers, grocers, Amazon, now with the new marketplaces, Shopify, Jet, all of those. Even Walmart now is getting into the marketplaces, and even third-party logistics or fulfillment warehouses are now really coming up to par with EDI as well. A lot of times you were being asked to do EDI and you put it off and put it off, or now with online fulfillment, you know, you're in the marketplaces and you're getting orders in, and you need to be able to talk to the third-party warehouse and be able to pull the orders in automatically, because the more you're manually touching it, the more time and effort and dollars it's costing you. And if you're currently doing EDI, we have a better and less expensive solution, and we would love to talk to you about that as well. But there is a lot more that's out there. So just so you know a little background on TrueCommerce, we connect with over 92,000 companies in different transaction sets. But the biggest growth that we've seen lately is on the supplier side. So, you know, where EDI was really driven by the retailers and, you know, the big box stores, what we've seen now is that people that are doing business online, you know, ordering constantly from their suppliers, and we've seen that now as well. So TrueCommerce can also handle outbound POs to your vendors and inbound invoices to match up against those POs to be able to talk electronically to your vendors. We even have a what we call Nextstore, which is our e-commerce site that is a back-end shopping cart that attaches onto your website and allows you to be able to have an e-commerce site to pull in orders and pull those directly in through the same simple interface that we do with our EDI. We also, you know, as you can see, put over 3 million purchase orders out. But we also have a pack and ship now that allows you that if you did want to do an e-commerce site, or if you're starting to do some of these marketplaces, to be able to handle that as well. And I'll dive into that more. All of this solution is 100% delivered in the cloud. And so it is a true SaaS environment and 100% in the cloud. And I'll go through more of that, of why that's a good solution for everyone. So, you know, we connect to a big, broad ecosystem. So, you know, you have your Microsoft Dynamics Nav, and then, you know, all those major retailers, the Macy's, the Kohl's, the Bed Bath & Beyonds. If you want to do business with them, they require you to do EDI. So that's, you know, a must, and, you know, you have to tie in with them. But now there's all these different storefronts and marketplaces, Shopify, Magento, Walmart, Nexternal, you know, all of these are forcing you to be able to pull in these orders and be able to send them back the information that they need to update their website, so you know that things were shipped and what the tracking number is and all that. And then there's all these other services, you know, for shipping and taxes and all this that also got to tie in, because that's all part of, you know, doing the e-commerce and part of the retail side of it. So what TrueCommerce did and really focuses on is a lot of what that middle, you know, small, middle, and large companies need in order to fulfill all of these needs. So on the trading side, you know, there's the, you know, the Walmarts and Targets and all that, of where you're going to be able to tie in via EDI and be able to pull orders in, send out advanced ship notices to tell them when you shipped it and that you accepted the order, and invoices and so forth. And all of that is something that we've had out there. But then as we're looking, there's a lot more that's available. So we have a portal on both the supplier and the customer side that you could put together. So say you had a bunch of small mom and pop type shops that needed to tie in and wanted to send you orders. So instead of them phoning and faxing in orders, they can just tie in directly, log in and say, hey, we want to order, you know, A, B, and C, and it automatically comes into your system, and you can fulfill the orders without ever having to manually type that. And we can do that on the supplier side as well. Here's a PO that we want to order, and when they invoice, they can just put it right back, and it'll pull directly in and match up. But then, of course, there's the e-commerce side as well, where, you know, people want to get online and be able to sell their goods online. So we have that ability, along with the ability of fulfillment. And I'll get to that in a minute. That's further down. But, you know, the less you have to touch an order and manually, you know, touch it and, you know what's in it and everything else, the easier it becomes. We also have the ability to do VMI, or, you know, planning on that side, which is if you're a good sized company that is doing business with, you know, for example, a Walmart, and you want to make sure that they never run out of your products, then you could have this analytic tool that actually takes a look at how much inventory is there, how much they sold, how much you should make sure you always keep there so that you'll never run out. And that is something that we have. And usually it's geared towards, you know, a little bit larger of a company, but we have seen it go across the gamut because people do not want to run out. For example, if Walmart runs out of paper towels, they could lose $10,000 to $20,000 a day in just paper towels, which is amazing. And when they see that, it pays for them to make sure that they never run out of stock. On the fulfillment side, we have the ability of adding on a pack and ship so that when you pull in that order, you can say, yep, we want to ship this. What's the best rate out there to ship this? And it would print out the labels that's needed for it, what's in there, and it would automatically update what they call the advanced ship notice, which gets sent back. So if anybody has ever done business with Amazon, you'll know that when they ship it, they tell you, here's your shipping, it shipped out today, here's your tracking number so that you can track it. It's the same thing. That's basically an advanced ship notice telling you that all 3 of your items got shipped in 1 box, 2 boxes, whatever, and here's your tracking number to be able to see it. And all of this, we also have analytic tools on the visibility side to give you the ability to see what, you know, how many orders did come in, what's the dollar value of all that, how many purchase orders I put out, how many things did we ship. On the EDI orders, you know, we got the order in, did I send back a PO acknowledgement? Did I send back an advanced ship notice? All of this can be done through analytics and reports and a dashboard. So as you can tell, businesses have changed tremendously just from what I went through right there. But, you know, for example, a lot of people want to do business with Amazon. Well, Amazon, you know, the first question we always ask is, well, what part of Amazon are you doing business with? Because there's Seller Central, there's Vendor Central. There's, you know, the seller is fulfilling the business, you know, so if they're Prime, they have to be able to get it done right away. Or then there's FBA or fulfilled by Amazon. And so when you know, are doing this, there's a lot of different ways. Now, there's some people that are doing multiple. They're doing Vendor Central and they're doing Seller Central. So it all depends on how you're doing business. Now, you know, years ago, it was so simple, you know, you'd get an order in, you'd take 2 to 3 weeks to fulfill the order. It was a single warehouse, you know, usually shipped out of your own warehouse. You took orders via fax, phone, and email. And either you shipped it to the store directly or you shipped it to the distribution center. And then if you wanted to know where that order was, you had to call customer service between 8 and 5 when that company was open and find out, you know, how they shipped it. Well, nowadays, there's multiple warehouses, there's fulfillment centers. You have basically 2 to 3 hours to fulfill orders. If you're on Amazon, you have to get that out that day in order to meet their Prime 2-day shipping. Orders can come in via EDI, shopping carts, portals, Amazon, phone, fax, emails. And now you're shipping to stores, you're shipping to distribution centers, you're shipping directly to businesses or to end user, you know, houses. And you could be shipping out 1,000 items in 100 boxes, or you could be shipping out 1 item with 1 box. And it's taken you almost the same amount of time to ship out that 1 item in 1 box versus the 1,000 items where you just pull a forklift in, grab a whole pallet and pull down that whole thing and ship it. And then, of course, people want to know 24/7, where is it, and be able to track it through some type of website. So here is an extensive list of our trading partners. So anybody doing business in the grocers, that's a big area of where a lot of this is needed. Retailers, third-party logistics have really come on board over the last few years because they have finally caught up, but now they need to do all that fulfillment and tell when they shipped it and what's in each box and so forth. So we've seen a tremendous growth in the third-party logistics or fulfillment centers. And then pharmaceutical has always been big in EDI and Commerce Network as well. So the way we deliver this now is we kind of made it a what we call the Foundry Services. And what we did is we created the TrueCommerce Network. And out of that network, we came up with like different spokes that stick out, so that if you wanted to do EDI, you could do EDI, procurement services, and tie directly in to the ERP. We can also do the storefronts or marketplaces. So if you wanted to just bring on just, Shopify, and then later on bring on Amazon, you could do that. And if you had other services, we could do that. We could do fulfillment, so that each one of these kind of can be added on as a separate module. And we made it very simple. So you could get all of them, you could get one of them. And we made it a very simple, easy way to grow your business. So a little bit about our next store, which is our e-commerce site. And first of all, I missed one thing on that last slide. We are a full managed service, and a lot of our competitors will say they're a managed service, but unless you deliver all of this yourself and own every piece of it, which TrueCommerce does, you cannot be a true managed service. A managed service is a one throat to choke, and that's us. We are the one throat that owns all of that and will tie in through the same interface. So a little bit about the next store. It's a e-commerce platform that's built directly onto the existing customer website. You can manage your EDI, e-commerce through the same one solution. We can do B2B and B2C. We can handle Amazon Central, Shopify, Magento, so you can handle the other marketplaces as well through the same interface. And it leverages all the same Microsoft integrations through this. We can tie in the pack and ship that's available now, and the PIM is being worked on right now. PIM is a product information management, so that you can actually put together all of the different products that you have, the quantities, and basically manage all of that through this one solution that will tie directly into all of these other products that we have as well. And that should be done over the next quarter. So you should see that coming out. Our technology and architecture, it's built on HTML5. We totally rewrote it to make sure that it's a true multi-tenant cloud-based system. So that's a true redundant servers, tier 3 data center, that's multi-location, redundant servers, RAID 10, so that you don't need disaster recovery. It's all built in. It's multi-browser supported. So what we did is we made sure that we optimized the screen so that no matter whether you were using your phone, tablet, computer, whatever it is, it optimizes the screen for that display to make sure that no matter what you're working on, whatever digital platform, you can see what it, see it in a optimized screen resolution. So with Microsoft, we've been working with Microsoft for years. We're a Microsoft Gold Certified Partner. We're also certified in Microsoft Dynamics Nav, a member of the NAVUG community, member of Microsoft Development Council, and we support NAV 2009 through the current release. So we've been working with them for quite a while. So with this point right here, I am going to turn it over to Steve Norris, and Steve will demo our solution. And if we have time, I'll go back through a few more slides, and if not, we will answer whatever questions you have. So Steve, I'm going to turn this over to you.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Okay.
So I'd like to spend some time with you guys today to go over and show you a brief demonstration of our solution. As Jeff had mentioned, we are a fully cloud-based managed service solution, but also have the embedded integration pieces directly from within NAV. So you'll see your EDI activities directly here in NAV. Unlike some of the other EDI solutions that maybe folks are used to in the NAV environment, we've taken a unique approach that's different than other folks that are providing integrations into and out of NAV, and the fact that we've leveraged what we would call an embedded but not evasive approach. So we're leveraging the nav extensions and net new code in order to be able to interface into and out of nav. That's nice because we're not modifying any of the core nav objects, which to you means that there's less of a problem as you go through the inevitable kind of nav upgrade cycle, or if you're in the process of moving from a nav environment to Dynamics 365 Business Central, you're going to be able to, do that seamlessly with TrueCommerce because we're not modifying the core nav objects. As we go in and look, you'll note that the user really is not having to leave nav in order to interact with the system. The first area that we'll go and we'll take a look at is really going to be our sales agreements. Jeff had highlighted kind of the 3 key areas where we provide integration into and out of nav, and that's going to be with relationships that you have with your customers, so being able to interface you with kind of larger retailers, different of the .com sites, your web portals where you have B2C and B2B traffic coming in. We're able to provide integrations for that through our customer integration. When we're looking at other integrations here as well, being able to exchange documents with your suppliers or vendors. And also if you're using any kind of third-party logistics companies as well, we're able to help interface those into nav, into and out of nav and Dynamics 365 Business Central as well. We go in and we take a look. Everything kind of starts and pivots around what we call our agreements. These agreements are where we're simply going in and saying which customer or customers are we doing EDI with in nav, and which transactions do we want to be able to automate. So we'll be able to see from within here the ability to be able to go on, turn on things like being able to activate or put into test mode things like orders, order confirmations or purchase order acknowledgments, ASNs, invoices, and a multitude of other documents. Also from within here, we're going to be able to see where we can turn on different business rules. Things like around what price do we want to use when we get that order? Do we use the incoming price from the EDI transaction, or do we use the price that's stored in nav? And do you want to know if those are different? Do you want to be able to process things like discounts? How do you want to process those? Do they need to come in as GL lines, or do they need to just be applied to the order as a whole? These are the types of different business rules and configuration you'll see from within here. Important thing to know is as we look in here, you're going to notice that you're not seeing anything in kind of that cryptic EDI format. We don't have to get, traditionally when using an EDI solution, we have to start becoming experts on how to look at an EDI document, right? We have to be able to look at an XML document. We have to, maybe we have a decoder ring for X12 or Edifact that we're trying to use to figure out where in the content pieces of information are. What's nice about our solution is we've really made it user-friendly and in nav and basic business terminology so that somebody can go in and make a change. So if you have a customer that you're working with that you do orders and invoices with today, and they require an ASN as well, you simply can go in and turn that functionality on. What's nice is what some of you may be used to from an EDI world is, there was a lot of mapping and trading partner specific things. Those are things that as a managed service we manage for you. So you're not having to worry about keeping up with the ongoing changes to requirements by your trading partner community. TrueCommerce is managing that for you, so you can be focused on what you're really good at and what your business is, specializes in is doing. Other things that we're going to be able to see and do from within here is we're going to be able to go and we'll take a look at some of our transactions. And we'll take a look at kind of a day in the life of. So when we take a look at our EDI activities here in the role tailored client, we're going to be able to see which transactions are waiting to be processed, which transactions are in error that I needed to take a look at, which transactions in outbound are waiting to be sent, and how many of those are in. The nice thing is the user does not have to be in our solution every day, kind of clicking buttons to process things. Well, certainly they could be. Most of our customers that are running our nav integration are leveraging the nav job schedule, the standard functionality that's in nav, in order to be able to schedule things like the importing of orders, maybe the sending of orders down to their 3PL, the sending of invoices, things along those lines. But what we give you on the back end is the ability to go in and check on the health of the system. To be able to go in and do your research. So we've created what we call message boxes. And these message boxes are both inbound and outbound. They allow you to see exactly what's happening in the system. Again, we're able to see this content directly within Nav. We're not bouncing over to other applications. We're having to go look at kind of other screens. All of this is natively in Nav. We can control who has access to this directly from within the Nav security rules, so you're not having to worry about managing access to other applications, provisioning additional servers, or anything along those lines. But we can see what's happening on the system. We can see what inbound transactions are coming in. What's nice is because we are embedded in Nav, you get all the features and functionalities that you guys like about Nav. Being able to go in and create your saved searches or your saved filters, being able to do quick filtering, having notes, having links associated with it are all things that you can do. One thing you might say is that I only want to be, right now I'm looking at all orders that have been, all orders or any inbound transactions. So you see I process some inbound invoices as well for my suppliers. One thing you might say is, hey, just show me those transactions that are in error. So you can go in and have a saved filter specifically for that. Or maybe you have customer service reps that only work with specific accounts. They're going to be able to go in and they can set up the view so they can only see what it is they want to see. What's nice is, as we go through here, again, most of our customers are not in here every day. They've set up the Nav job schedule to import things like orders. So when there are errors, they're receiving an email to let them know that those events occurred, so they can resolve that, and they can really be in a position where they're managing things by exception versus touching every single transaction. Inevitably, there's going to be transactions that come across that might have errors associated with them. Or there might be some information that's sent over to them that you want to interrogate in a little more detail. What's nice is we allow you to do that directly from within the mailboxes. And again, you don't have to be an EDI expert to do so. So if we go in, we do have the ability to go in and see the transaction in a nice, easy to read format. So we can see exactly what was sent over on the EDI document without being an expert in the EDI content itself. What we do as part of our TrueCommerce integration is we parse that information out so you have the visibility to be able to see all the content that was sent over. So you can see what lines they're sending, what the units of measure are, what pricing is associated with it, quantities, things along those lines. What's also nice is inevitably you might get an order from one of your trading partners that they sent over, maybe they transposed an item number on that, right? That may be a situation you're into. And if that trading partner is one of the larger online retailers or even the larger brick and mortar retailers, getting them to change that information and resubmit the order can often be taxing in a long period of time. So you may say, hey, I want to be able to make that change so that I can process this order since they're expecting this order anyway. What's nice is we do allow you to be able to edit the transaction from within that same view. And again, you can control who can and can't do this because obviously there would be some folks that you don't want to be able to enter orders. But this gives you a way to quickly fix something and resolve it without having to go back and wait for your trading partner to make that change. Other thing that's nice from within our message boxes is that we do allow you to be able to reprocess a document from within here. So inevitably, your organization's probably been in a situation where you may not want to reprocess an order, but think about on the other documents that you might send out. Things like ASNs or orders down to a 3PL, an order down to your suppliers, invoices out to some of the retailers that you work with. Inevitably, you send those down to those trading partners, and they may ask you, they may say, hey, we got all these, but can you resend this one again? What's nice is you can do that directly from with our integration in Nav, and you're not beholden to another application to have to go in and do that. You don't have to post another transaction directly from within Nav. You can simply resend it directly through our integration. We also can immediately go to the transactions that were created. So if we're trying to do some research, we want to do a comparison, we actually have the ability to go directly from our screens into any of the corresponding Nav screens as well. You guys are probably very familiar with this screen. This is a standard Nav, standard Nav sales order entry screen. We can see exactly which transaction was created. One of the nice things that we've added in is the ability on the Actions button to interact with that transaction via EDI. So a lot of our customers have said, you know what, it would be real nice to be able to review the order and be able to send out an order confirmation directly from within the context of the sales order itself, not have to go into another application or things along those lines. So we give them the ability to be able to do that as well. Also, we're tying into some of your standard nav processes. So we're not asking you to do additive work when you're doing EDI. So for instance, if this was a customer I was working with that I need to be able to ship out of a 3PL that I want to do EDI with, very simple. When when an order has an item that's associated with a location code that we've configured in our warehouse agreements, when you click release to release that to the warehouse, it's going to send the EDI transaction down to the 3PL for you. Again, we're not having you go through additional steps in order to be able to release that. You're following the same workflows that you would follow directly from within NAV in general. What's also nice is as they submit information back to let you know they have in fact shipped that order, we're going to be able to actually take that in and post the shipment as well as a part of that. So again, getting you to a point where you're really managing things by exception and automating these supply chain processes that you may have commonly spent, hours or days, trying to go through and manually doing those processes may be pretty resource intensive on your end. What we're saying is we can automate those processes while leveraging the same NAV features and functionalities that you're using today. We also have added the ability into NAV for you to be able to create your ASN content. We also provide an API in that area as well. So as most of you on the call know, in standard NAV, you don't really have the ability to be able to go in and say, here's which items are in each carton and maybe which cartons are on each pallet. But a lot of the retailers are requiring that you provide that information. So we do give you the ability to do that within our product. So you do get the ability to be able to go in and create different transactions. You actually can go in and you can build out different shipments. You're able to see which items are in each carton, things along those lines. So you have the ability to be able to do that. Take a particular order or orders or sales shipments, put them on a transaction and be able to say, here's which items go into each carton. If you're in a standard pack environment where you're always shipping the same number of items to a carton or same number of items on a pallet, that can be fully automated. But if you're in a more of a drop shipping environment or a situation where you're picking and packing items into a carton, we allow you to be able to do that too. Again, to give you the ability to be able to meet your ASN requirements for your trading partners while leveraging our integration directly from within NAV. Another important thing to know is if you happen to be using a WMS or another shipping solution, we do have an API that allows that data to be passed to us, so you don't have to worry about duplicate entry. So in those scenarios where we have NAV customers that are using some of the leading WMS solutions that are on the market, we do have a direct API that data can be passed to us for the ASN, so you're not having to worry about duplicating that pack out information if you're already gathering it in another application. And then if we're talking about invoicing, some of the retailers or other trading partners you might send an EDI invoice to, really sending that EDI invoice is as simple as posting that invoice directly from within NAV. So if it's for a trading partner that we've set up in our EDI sales agreements as requiring and have activated the invoice for it, as soon as you've posted that invoice in NAV, we're going to give you the ability to be able to send that out to the trading partner. Again, because we're embedded, we're following the same workflows and not building out a bunch of additive workflows that you need to follow as a part of an EDI process. We take this full integration that we've built into NAV that is a certified for Dynamics NAV integration. We've taken that and we've paired that up on the back end with our application we call Transaction Manager. Our Transaction Manager is where we're managing kind of the communication and the trading partner mapping. It is a cloud-based solution, as Jeff had mentioned. You're able to access it from anywhere and from any device. That works out really well because if you're in a scenario where you don't have access to the NAV environment, but you're wondering what's happening with EDI and NAV, you're able to go out here and see exactly what's happening. What's also nice about this platform is, heaven forbid your NAV environment is down, this does give you the concept of business continuity. So you can actually go in and see those orders that you received via EDI, and you can actually interact with them directly from within here as well. So if there's a scenario in which the ERP system is down, we're providing the ability for you to be able to still go in and retrieve those orders and interact with those orders. The nice thing about our cloud-based integration is that really the focus is on the economies of scale, right? So when you've worked maybe in EDI in the past, or you've worked with kind of integrations in the past, a lot of times those traditionally tend to be more on-premise, which means any changes need to be done in your environment. You're not getting the economies of scale necessarily of everyone else that a particular provider is working with. What's nice is because we are a cloud-based solution, you get immediate access to our library of over 27,000 trading partners that we have folks that are doing business with every single day. So when you come to us and you wanted to add a new trading partner to your relationship, that can be added in the same business day so that you can actually begin that testing process. Traditional, more on-premise related suppliers often take weeks in order to be able to get you to a point that you're going to be able to do testing. On the back end of this, we really provide a robust set of reporting. We really pride ourselves on that reporting that we have available. Really, we look at reporting in two kind of different ways. We look at reporting at the summary level, which is looking at transactions over time, and we look at it at the task level, right? Those things are important to those folks maybe in customer service or in procurement or in inventory control that are monitoring the day-to-day. In our summary level reports, you may simply want to say, hey, at the end of every month, it'd be nice to get a report that shows me the order totals for that month that came through EDI. More importantly, I might not want to see that just for one of my trading partners. I may want to see that across my entire trading partner community. Well, if I work with 50, 100, 150 trading partners, simply getting a list of trading partners and the number of orders may not be that effective way of visualizing what those volumes look like. So instead of seeing that as a list, maybe instead you want to see that as a pie chart so you can understand what percentage of orders that you're receiving from each of your EDI trading partners. You may also say, I don't necessarily care about the number of orders I'm getting as much as I care about the revenue associated with those orders. So I can start to understand maybe at the end of every month and the end of every week, what percentage of my revenue is being generated from which of my EDI trading partners. What's also nice is that you can run these reports. Any of the reports can be run ad hoc. They can be saved like I have and recalled from the left-hand side. But what a lot of our customers really love is they'd like that they have the ability to save the report, associate them with an email address or a group of email addresses, and place those on a schedule so they don't have to remember to run the reports. So they may say, hey, at the end of every month, it would be nice to have these 3 reports sent to these 6 people. They're setting that up once, and then they're not having to remember to run the reports. So those reports are automatically getting set up, so you don't have to worry about somebody logging in at the end of the month to run the reports that are needed. They're going to be automatically served up to you. That becomes very effective when we're talking about things like our task-driven reports. So one of the things that we kind of see across kind of some of the more traditional nav solutions is because of the way that they're structured and because they're kind of a piecemeal solution, whereas the different provider may be providing the communications versus the translation versus the integration pieces, TrueCommerce is providing that all under one roof. So uniquely, we're able to report back exactly when a trading partner hasn't received the document. So you may have been in a situation before where you've received a chargeback for an ASN that was late, or maybe you simply didn't receive payment on an invoice. You're calling to collect on it after the payment terms have expired. Maybe you're 90, 120 days out. You're calling the trading partner for the first time, realizing that they didn't get the invoice that you sent them. Well, we're able to cut that off at the pass. We're allowing you to be more proactive in those scenarios. Some of our customers say, hey, if there are any transactions that haven't been acknowledged by their trading partners, at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, before a customer service team gets in and gets their first cup of coffee, go ahead and send them an automated email to let them know what those transactions are so that they can proactively follow up on them. That way you're not in a position where you have delayed cash because invoices aren't received, or supply chain disruptions because you have a 3PL that didn't receive an order you thought you sent to them, or worse yet, maybe a chargeback that's coming from some of the big retailers that can be up to $25, $50 chargeback per carton. Again, all of these reports can be fully automated. But maybe there's somebody in customer service who just wants to say, hey, I just want to see what all orders I've sent down to my 3PL that they've not shipped yet. Maybe I want to see how many orders do I have that I haven't sent an ASN for yet, or things along those lines. We're giving the ability to be able to do that out of here as well. You may also say that, hey, there are specific labeling requirements that you have for your trading partners. So those UCC 128 or those GS1 labels for both pallets and cartons. We support the printing and the management of those particular labels. So we're making sure they meet the trading partners requirements. So you can actually go in and print those out. Along those same lines, if you're shipping with somebody, you're shipping to a consumer, where somebody like a HomeDepot.com has a very specific requirement for the packing slip, we maintain the compliance for those packing slips as well and allow you to be able to print those out through our module. Another nice feature that we have is the concurrent user licensing. So you only have to be licensed for the number of users that are going to be using the solution at the same time. What's nice is you can control what those users can and can't do. That's nice from your perspective, because there may be folks in your organization in customer service that you want to be able to go in and look and do things, but you don't want them to be able to delete anything, or maybe they shouldn't be able to create any new transactions or things along those lines. We're going to give you the ability to be able to maintain those users in here, and again, license based on concurrent users, so you can have multiple users in the same system, and you don't have to have people, you don't have to have people worrying about logging in or logging out of a specific server in order to be able to access it. That was really the bulk of what I wanted to cover off with you guys today. I'll now pass control back over to Jeff Franklin so that he can talk a little bit more about how an implementation of our solution would go.
Okay, here we go. So let me just make sure. Okay, so as you can see, the implementation and support, the way that TrueCommerce does it is that once we sign up with sign you up as a customer and you sign, the agreement and so forth, then at this point, what we do is we have a kickoff call, and the kickoff call is with you and your provider or your current VAR that supports your nav. And what we do is we have a kickoff call that basically gets everybody on the same page. Then what we do is, while we're doing all the configuration and mapping, and we want to make sure that your business system is tested and all that, once we get live orders, we actually do training one-on-one with you or with whoever needs to be trained. We even have online materials that are available and training videos as well. And then once we go live, we convert that over to from testing to production, and we hand it off to support, and all of this is done. And like Steve was saying, bringing on new trading partners and so forth, once you're trained on this, it is very simple to maintain and bring on other trading partners, bring on other pieces of the spokes, bringing on a storefront or whatever else is needed. Our customer support is offered 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via phone, email, and online, but we also have a 24/7 critical issue. And this is handled by a qualified support personnel. It is not just a call in and then someone will get back to you, or a call center. It is a true qualified personnel. You have 24-hour access to the case submission and status right through through your customer portal. So once you become a customer, you can log in and see all the status of the cases. And then once a week, we're always looking at how we did the previous week. So we're always looking at KPIs on that and making sure that we're meeting or beating our objectives on the support team. So at this point, I just wanted to find out, are there any questions? And we're pretty much done. I hope there's a few questions out there.
If anyone does have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the questions box. None have come through so far, so we'll give it just a few more moments.
That's because we're that good at giving presentations.
That's right. All right, nothing's come through, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay, well, Angie, back over to you. But if anybody does have any questions on TrueCommerce, you can get in touch with me or Mike. And if we need to get Steve involved, we can get Steve involved as well. So thank you, Angie. Back over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff and Steve, for presenting. That was very informative. We appreciate that. And like you said, if anyone has any additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. We will get those answered for you. And again, this has been recorded, so it will be available on our website later this week at innovia.com. And we just ask that if you are interested in any future webinars, please visit our website at innovia.com and click on the events button at the top of the page to view our events that are coming up. We do have another event coming up this week on the 12th. Alan Wine will be presenting on NAV capacity planning. He's doing an overview presentation on that. And then we have Jet Reports presenting on Jet Professional next week on the 19th. So if you're interested in any of those or any future webinars, please register for those events. Again, thank you everyone for attending, and we look forward to seeing you on one of our future webinars. Have a great day.